Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name is Jonny Rashman, and this is it, the launch of the channel. Right, let's get straight into it. The aim of the channel is very simple. I want to create a platform for the fans. I want to create a boxing fan channel, similar to football fan channels out there, like Arsenal Fan TV, Stretford Paddock. I want to bring that to boxing. I believe there's a marketplace for it, especially in the UK. Now, the content I'm going to be providing, it's not about going from gym to gym, asking the same questions, getting the same answers from the same fighters and the same promoters. I don't want that. As I mentioned, I want to create a platform for the fans where our voices get heard. I'm a fan myself, and for me, certain fighters and certain promoters seem to forget that without the fans, there is no professional boxing. So I want fans debating what's going on. Anyone who knows me personally or follows me on social media will vouch that I've got strong opinions. If I've got to say something, I'm going to say it. I'm not a yes man for anyone. And I believe I've got a good understanding of boxing. I've watched it for many, many years. I've done various bits of media, creative writing. I've been in a few YouTube studios, and I'm involved with certain fighters. I go to the gyms. I see regular sparring. I see world-class fighters sparring. I'm in fighters' camps. So I can bring you a good understanding of what's going on in the sport. I'm not just a fan who's given an opinion, who's never tasted a shot, who's never been in the ring or a gym, or who's never been around fighters. I'm around fighters. You can ask world-class trainers in Manchester. They know my face, and I bring a certain bit of credibility. And I know my boxing. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care how long you've been in the game for. I can talk boxing with anyone. And the thing with me is, I don't get starstruck. I don't get phased. If I have to ask a certain question, I'm going to ask it. I don't care how big your profile is. I don't care how many years you've been in the sport. If I've got to ask something, I'm going to ask it. Right. So the content that I'm going to give you is, I want fans engaging with fighters. Right. I want us debating stuff. So if we see an interview or we see a press conference, rather than me going to a press conference, right, where there's 50 media outlets there, you get a certain amount of time with a fighter or a manager, and you're getting the same answers. You're just getting the same answers. There's no point me giving you that content where you've seen it off the mainstream broadcasters, the big YouTube channels, radio. There's no point me giving you that. So I want to debate what's gone on at these press conferences, what's gone on at interviews, how a fight's gone down. And I'm going to bring you analysis from fighters, fans, managers, promoters. I'm going to bring you all that together. And we're going to discuss what is going on in the sport. Like I said before, right, I'm an open book. I will discuss what is going on. Nothing is off limits, right? I don't do agendas. I don't do spoon-fed narratives. It doesn't matter. I'm a friend of yours. Anyone will tell you that, even if you're a close mate of mine, if you've done something I don't agree with, I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you that. And I just think there's a lot of media outlets out there that do a good job, right? They've got connection with certain fighters and managers, but really, are you getting the truth? You know, if you're watching an interview with a certain promoter, promoters are like politicians. Their job is not to give you a straight answer. Their job is to give you an answer what they want you to believe. Right? And somewhere in between that lies the truth. My job is to pick the bones out of that and give you the truth, or give you a different perspective, because I know the bullshit. I can see bullshit a mile away, right? I'm a salesman. I've worked in call centers, I've been around bullshitters, right? So I know when someone is bullshitting me. And like I said, if you follow me on social media, you can see that I'm pretty bang on with my predictions. I don't get it right all the time, but I like to think I will look at things and I'll analyze things that other people may not see. And that's born out of many, 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 many years watching the game, watching boxing. Watched boxing since I was 5. My grandfather, I never knew him, God rest his soul. He was on the British Boxing Board of Control. He was an inspector. So it's been ingrained in me, boxing. Now, I'm not a fighter. I do train boxing. I've had a few white collar fights. I don't pretend I'm a fighter. I know how hard it is to be a professional fighter, but I've got hands, right? I've got good power, and I can throw combinations. I know my way around the boxing ring, right? So it's not like I've never taken a shot before. I understand what it feels like, and I'm involved with certain fighters, as I mentioned before. Now, I've got to be honest with you. In the boxing and MMA media game, I'm sick of seeing the same people giving the same opinion scattered across different platforms. I don't understand it. There's no point me putting on Sky Sports, DAZN, TalkSport, BT Sport when I'm seeing the same people giving the same opinions. Now, I'm not talking about fighters, I'm talking about people in the media game. And I know these people, right? No disrespect. I know they don't know their boxing better than me. I know they don't. Half of them have never taken a punch, right? They're analysing fights and they've never taken a punch. They don't know what it feels like, right? I have. I've been in gyms. I understand it. And the boxing and MMA media game is crying out for people to come in who's going to go against the grain, say it how it is, and more importantly, express what the fans are thinking. Because I'm all about the fans and the fighters, right? That's what I'm about. I'm a fan myself, and I see what fighters go through, and I want opinions and I want debates to get heard. Now, I'm not going to discredit people. I'm not going to take the piss out of people and personally insult them. I do have strong opinions, but if you start doing that, you'll just get cancelled out, right? It's easy for high-profile fighters to say, you know what, ignore them. They're a troll account. They're just trolls. Then they don't know what they're doing. They've got no credibility. I'm not going to let that happen. People need to be held accountable for the bullshit, because all I'm hearing now, the new norm now is to talk shit on social media, put out fights. Fighters managers are telling them to put out posts saying, who do you want me to fight next? Apart from George Kambosos, who looks like he's going to fight Lomachenko next, it never happens, does it? Conor Benn puts some out, who do you want me to fight next? Everyone says Avanesyan. He's not going to fight Avanesyan, right? They might say Terence Crawford. He's not going to fight Terence Crawford. Who's he fighting? He's going to fight Chris Van Heerden. Right, so it's a nonsense, and I'm sick of that bullshit, right? And I think it has to be called out, because it seems to me that the product in boxing now has been watered down, and that, for me, that's a manager and that's a promoter's issue. I think promoters at the moment seem to think that as long as they can make so much money, they can put out a certain product, right? And let me tell you something: football made that mistake, right? We all heard about the Super League last year. We all heard about that, where certain teams in England, the big teams, and in Europe, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, Man City, right, we're going to break away from the Premier League, create a European league where they're just in it, right? No one else can join it. There's no relegation. And you know what happened? Every single owner thought they could get away with it. They just thought, what can I take off them? What can I drain out of the fans? Because I own a club, it doesn't matter. If I own it, I can make decisions. And do you know what happened? There was riots everywhere. Everyone clubbed together, right, and said, we're not putting up with this, whether it's fans, players, managers, and the owners had to backtrack. For me, this has to go on in boxing. I'm seeing too much of promoters being greedy. Right, I'm all for fighters making money. Right, I'm all for that, but not at the expense of the fans. Right, you have to understand, without the fans backing, fighters don't become stars. Right, if fans said, you know what, I'm gonna strike. I'm gonna PBC, for example. I'm gonna unfollow them for 4 weeks. I'm not gonna watch any of the content. Every fan did this. It'd hit them in the pocket, wouldn't they? They'd soon think they couldn't take the piss, right? And putting Charles Martin and Luis Ortiz on pay-per-view, right? For me, that's a hammer blow to fans. That's not caring about what fans think. That's taking the piss, right? And media outlets need to come out, right? And we need to discuss this, because at the moment, what are we having? Is that what we've got in 2022? We've got this shite on pay-per-view. How much was it? I mean, it's $50 in the USA. $50 to watch Ortiz and Martin. It's an absolute nonsense. Middle East, I've got a big problem with the big fights happening in the Middle East. I'm all for boxing being allowed to be shown anywhere, right? Everyone in the world, boxing is universal, and every fan deserves to watch boxing. But do me a favour, right? Don't be putting on the big fights in the Middle East when that's all you're doing. If you're that bothered about the Middle East, go and grow the sport. Go and put amateur shows on. Go and invest in gyms, right? Because for me, it's a kick in the teeth to fans. For example, Fury and Joshua, right? There's fans who supported Tyson Fury before he was famous, watched him at local leisure centres when he was, or when he was on arena shows. I think he was on Carl Fox's undercard. You know, he was probably first fight on, right? And they've supported him throughout that journey till he's got to in a position where he can fight in front of a stadium. And for me to go to the Middle East and deny fans of a mega fight, especially with between two UK fighters like AJ and Fury, because promoters want to take, they've got to earn 10 million. They've got to earn 15 million. He's got to earn 5 million. What about the fans? Like, who's coming out and saying, what about the fans? Because at the moment, the fans' voices aren't getting heard. And I'm going to change that. I've got the personality to do it. As I say, I'm not going to disrespect people, but I'm going to have strong opinions. And if I think someone's bullshitting me, I'm going to call it out. I don't care who it is. I'm not linked to any promoters. They don't pay my bills, right? So I don't have to worry about being denied access, or if I don't get media passes, I don't really give a fuck. I've got my studio. My studio is here. A lot of the content is going to be produced here. I want fans involved. I want fighters involved. And I want managers involved. I don't want promoters involved. I want to bring you a bird's eye view of what's going on in boxing. I have the contacts, and I believe I can deliver that. Now, it's a bit different, this outlet, to what's out there. It is. It really is. And I'm going to prove to you what it takes to grow an outlet. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't want to work for anyone. I didn't want to work for an outlet. Right? I did work for another YouTube channel in MMA, and to be honest with you, there were certain ideas that I just couldn't. I wasn't allowed to get across, right? Because there were people in front of me, right, and I couldn't get the vision I wanted for it. So you know what I said to myself? Do you know what I need to do? I need to go out there, and I just can't be a good interviewer. I've got to be able to do graphics. I've got to be able to edit a video. I've got to be able to run social media accounts. I've run fighters' social media accounts, right? I've grown them successfully. I can do graphics, right? As good as anyone. I can edit videos, right? Because for me to have your own outlet, you have to be able to deal with that. Unless you've got money and you can pay graphic designers from the word go, if you come from a big platform, happy days, right? I wasn't in that position. I had to go out and graft and learn skills, right? Learn skills that's going to enable me to open my own media outlet. So I don't have to rely on anyone, right? As we grow, yes, I will be employing graphic designers, and I will be moving to a different studio. That will happen. I'm not in this game to say I'm interviewing fighters and have 20 views a video. If people aren't watching my content within 12 months, 6 months, a year, right, I'll change it up, right? And if it's still not happening, right, there's an issue, isn't there? I'm not deluded. I believe in myself, right? I believe I'm something different to what's out there. And I believe in my ability, and I believe that I can grow this media outlet to one of the biggest media outlets in boxing. Right? And people might say, oh, you're talking nonsense, and that's not going to happen. If it doesn't happen and you get anywhere near that, then I've done well. I've seen it done before. And as I say, I don't really have competition. We all know the outlets like your Boxing Socials, IFL, it's Seconds Out. They're fucking good at what they do. They've grafted, right? They've built their connections, and they bring you certain interviews, right? And they've got the connection with the big fighters. I don't want to do that. I'm not bothered to interview the big names. I'm really not bothered. I don't even like interviewing people. Yes, I can do it as good as anyone. I like to come in conversations. I like to have a conversation with someone. I'd rather someone come in the studio or do it over Zoom and talk what's going on, not just hear some bullshit spoon-fed narrative. That's not me. Right? I think I've got the ability where fighters open up to me, and we're going to discuss things that other people might not discuss. You know, there are certain outlets who won't bring things up because they're going to be denied access. They might not get press passes, you know, and their content relies on that. My content doesn't. I'm selling myself. I believe in myself that much that I'm selling myself. It's as simple as that. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe I'm capable. And more importantly, I believe that I can offer you something that other people can't. And I want you involved. I want the fans to discuss what is going on. Now, I'm not interested in people going, oh, I don't like him because he's a fat slob. And I'm not interested in that. I want fans' opinions on what's going on in boxing, right? Is White ducking Fury? Was it ever going to happen, that fight? Is it just a smoke screen? I want to talk what's going on. And I think what sets me apart is I will criticize someone if I think they need criticizing, yet I'll praise them if I think they need praising. I don't do agendas, right? Do I have strong opinions? Yes. I'll always back myself. I never say anything without having a valid argument. Do I get it right all the time? No. Do I want people to agree with me every time? No. I want people to debate with me because I know that I can come back with you with a valid argument. Now, you might agree with me, you might not. I have that ability where you either do agree with me or you don't. But one thing is, you will watch me, and I believe we're in for a big ride here with Fight Club 24/7. The sky's the limit for me. I want to create opportunities for people because, like I mentioned before, the same people are just been given the same opportunities for me, and I can't understand it. And I know the ability. Are they really good at what they do? Yeah, they might be good. Are the people better than them? Can people be just as good? Absolutely. Now, I'm not discrediting people. I'm not hating on anyone. I admire anyone who does any form of content, whether you work for a mainstream broadcaster or you produce content from your bedroom. The media game's a hard game, right? You've got to be creative, you've got to be passionate, you've got something about you, you've got to be able to deal with negativity. It's not an easy game. Anyone can do it, but there's only a small minority that actually becomes successful. And everything's going into this, right? Everything is going into this. And I'm going to prove what it takes to grow a successful outlet. You don't have to go to university and get 1 million A levels and degrees in this and degrees in that. Some people, that might not be the right path for some people, right? They might not have gone to university. I didn't go to university, right? But I tell you what, my creative writing is as good as anyone's. My editing is very good. My graphics, didn't go to university, I taught myself, right? And my graphics are very good. And I'm going to prove that you don't have to go to university. You don't have to come from a big platform to create your own platform. It's been done before, right? There is a blueprint, and I want to do something a little bit different. So I want you to all like, subscribe, and I want you to comment. I'm not going to message you every minute and say, comment on my stuff, and can you please leave a comment? Because for me, I think that's a bit small-minded. If you keep messaging people, asking them to comment on your stuff, then you can only go so far with that. People have to comment because they want to comment. And I believe people will. I'm not going to force anyone to, but I do need you to like and subscribe to the channel. It's very important. I want you to engage, and there's going to be different content being put out. There's going to be fighters, right? There's going to be fans. There's going to be managers. There's going to be promoters. There's going to be all different types of content as we grow. And I want you all involved. It's going to be one hell of a journey.